Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to How Did They Do That Live October edition. The topic this month is Internet Safety Awareness Month, and just a quick reminder of what How They Do That is. How Do They Do That is not myself or the other trainer, Angela, teaching you how to do something. The spirit of How They Do That is we're taking great teaching that's happening in the classroom that happens to use technology and really uplifting that voice and those teachers so that anyone all across the district is able to see that. So, and every month we do these, and every month we have a different topic. This month is Internet Safety Month, and so as you know, in honor of that, we are talking about internet safety today, and we have three great presenters lined up for you. The first presenter is really going to go over the entire TK6 curriculum, and it's going to be Joseph Mesa, our digital curriculum coordinator. And then we're going to hear from a computer literacy teacher, Linda Farnon. And then we're going to get an example of the 912 perspective by Jamie Fredrickson as well. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear from these presenters, and I'm excited that you're all here for How Do They Do That today. So with that being said, we will go ahead and get started with our first presenter, Joseph Mesa. Joseph, go ahead and take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joseph Mesa, the Digital Curriculum Coordinator for the CIPD department. That is a new position this year, and perfect timing on that with distance learning and all of that. And my counterpart on the other side, on the IETES side, is Susan Church. So hopefully you're having a good afternoon. Happy Wednesday to you. All right. So I'm going to go over just very broadly what the background and the need for this initiative this year is. So this year, we're having our first annual Internet Safety Awareness Month, and that's the month of October, but it actually is extending clear through to November 15th in order to get all the and that's why we went with Internet Safety Awareness Month. Cybersecurity sort of sounds, you know, we are hoping that this is the first annual event, and we are able to do this every year because the need for this is only going to increase with time, not decrease. So we're hoping that this is an annual event. The you know, sort of the idea or the philosophy around it is digital citizenship, and we're all familiar with that. We normally do that in the TK6 world in the month of August. We are fortunate to have computer literacy teachers at each of our 22 elementary sites to deliver instruction. So they normally do this sort of training in the month of August. From 7 to 12, we normally do the internet driver's license, or the IDL, which is now the ISTA, in the month of August. But because of sort of the way this year unfolded, we weren't able to do that. And ironically, this is the year when we needed it the most because we're on such reliance of technology, but we weren't able to do that training this year. So that's why we're doing it in October. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the basics of it is it started in October 1st and it's going through November 15th. Each site for all our 36 sites has a lead person in charge of developing the plan and involving the stakeholders or informing the stakeholders of what we're doing, communicating that with the site administration, and just doing that overall plan. For the elementary side of things, the computer literacy teachers stepped up to be that lead person. For 712, it just depends site by site who was the lead person. For the elementary district, the CLTs are the ones who are actually doing the presenting. At the minimum, all students will have the opportunity to participate in at least one live lesson or presentation. And it looks different at every site. Every plan looks different at every site. Some sites are doing their presentation more in a lesson format, and they're doing it in each one of the homeroom teachers' Schoology course straight out of the homeroom. For some sites, they're having to combine students at grade levels, so a group from this class and a group from this class are combining in a Teams meeting, and that's the way they're seeing them. So it's a little bit different whether they're using Schoology conferences or they're using Microsoft Teams or they're presenting their material from the Schoology platform or they're using another platform. So the plan does look a little bit different at every single site. And after that minimum, they are required, or we are, providing some extension activities after the presentation. And again, each site has a different plan for what that looks like. You may wonder, okay, so what is an extension activity? Well, an extension activity could look like a Nearpod posted directly into a Schoology course in a student self-paced mode, or it could be some additional videos like a YouTube video around digital citizenship with a question prompt, or if you were really advanced, you could be doing something in Edpuzzle with a video where it's going to stop at different points in the video and give students a quiz. So it does look different at different sites. Next slide, please. So the 4 goals, or the 4 main topics to present, these are the must-dos. We normally do this in computer literacy anyway. The basics of the curriculum that we have put together have these components, and one of them is passwords, 2 is online safety, 3 is showing respect online, and 4 are the rules for computer use. Some of these main topics now are part of our California computer science standards. If you're not familiar with those have been online, active, adopted since 2018. And some of those 4 main topics do exist in our California computer science standards. They also exist in the NETs, the national standards, the ISTE standards as well. And we also have district standards that those are all a part of. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's sort of the overall plan. I thought I would sort of walk you through what my live presentation looks like. This is not like standard curriculum and everybody's doing it, but I have been providing some live lessons for students, and this is what I use. I have developed a Nearpod that includes all of those elements and some activities, so I thought I'd give you a quick walkthrough of what that looks like. So that's my lead slide. Next. So I go over the agenda and then introduce passwords, and then really go over these are the 4 main things that I want you to walk away from this presentation having a greater understanding. This is all for students. This is not for adults. So next. And this presentation is, I'd say the target on this is 3rd through 6th grade. I wouldn't do this presentation. I haven't been presenting to any of the younger ones, but it really is geared more toward that intermediate 4th through 6th group. So the first piece, I talk about verbally how you might develop a secure password that you're choosing a combination of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, symbols. You're having different passwords for each account. You're not sharing your passwords with other people. I also talk about you aren't developing passwords for your portal, for the app portal that we have. You don't have to develop passwords for that, but students have passwords for a variety of uses, and talk about the need. You don't want the same username and password, because if somebody has your username and password for one area, they are able to guess easily what your username and password is for a different area. So I do discuss that. Then I show a short YouTube video that just reaffirms everything that I verbally covered. And then I follow up with a short 4-item quiz on what I just went over. So that's the password piece. So next piece. The next piece has 5 different safety tips for kids. So I go over what those tips are, then I show the video, and I show it 2 times, and here's why. So I show the video, and I just want them to pay attention to the content, kind of get the overall gist of what the video is about. Then I show them the video again, but I give them the prompt before that I want you to really have a great memory, and whatever number 1 is, I want you to remember what the tip is for number 1, because I'm going to jumble them up and I want you to be able to put them in order. And one of the things that I have discovered over time in my career in education, 1, kids have a much better memory than I do, and young kids have phenomenal memories when they are conscious that they need to memorize something. So I show it to them 2 times to reinforce the message and to lock it in their memory. And then we play a matching game, the matching game in Nearpod, to try to align it. And, you know, we talk about results. You would be shocked how high a percentage of students can nail every single one of those when you have told them before that you want them to memorize the order. So next. The next topic is just showing respect online. Talk about the difference between bullying in general and cyberbullying. I also ask them to put it in their own words and really try to make that connection between in-person bullying and bullying online, and how much easier it is to, you know, bully online or say something that might offend someone online. So we talk about that. So next slide. So then we talk about the different pieces and the roles in cyberbullying. So almost every situation in bullying has a bully, a target, a bystander, and then hopefully an upstander, which is not always the case. So we talk about what the role of the bully is, what the target of the bully is, or who the target for the bully is, and that the bullying is in the eyes or perception of the target. It doesn't matter what the bully thinks, whether they're bullying or not. If the target perceives that it is bullying, then it is bullying. So it's not up to the bully to decide. The bystander, of course, is the person who just watches and does nothing. The upstander is a person who actually steps in and tries to remedy the situation in some way. Next. Then I show them a quick video on tips that they can, how they can be an upstander. Then again, they do a matching game for operational definitions of, those different areas. In addition to, there's a piece on empathy and what empathy looks like, what it's defined as, and some examples of empathy, which is sometimes hard for kids to see things from other people's perspective. And then there are a couple of questions on scenarios and what would be an appropriate response, and we discuss some of the answers to that. So next. And if I need to wrap it up, let me know if I'm going over on time. Then the next pieces are the rules for computer use. These are not official Modesto City School rules by any means. These are just the rules that I present to kids when I'm talking about rules for computer use. And one is using kind words on online. Say something positive, or don't use any words at all. It's fine if you think something not positive, just don't let the words come out of your mouth. Keep it to yourself. Rule number 2, taking care of computers. 3, using the computer properly. 4, following the school rules. And 5, keeping the balance. For taking care of the computer, that includes treating it with respect, making sure that it's not getting damaged, that is shut down properly each night, and charging the device. That's really important, so it's ready to use at the start of the day. That's going to be really important to continue to hit that as we're going back to live instruction. They need to come to school with their device charged every day, and then using it properly. You're using your school computer for its intended purpose, which is learning, not playing games. Number 4 is following the school rules. Understanding that when you're on a school computer, even at home and distance learning, the consequences are the same for violating rules. And I let students know we can easily track every single thing that you do online. So be aware, don't do anything on that computer that you wouldn't do if I were hovering right over your shoulder watching what you're doing, because we can track what you're doing online easily. And then the last rule is keeping the balance, taking a lot of breaks. We don't want to be staring at our computer screen for long periods of time. That's a do as I say, not as I do, because this team here that's presenting, that's all we do is stare at computer screens. And talking about what a break looks like. A break isn't swapping out one type of media for another type of media. It's getting away from media. Go get some exercise. Breathe some clean air if we had some to breathe. Get some exercise, outside safely, but, stepping away from technology. So you can move ahead. Next slide. And then after that, students, couple Nearpod activities. So I've got the drag and drop fill in the blank for them to do. And then they do another matching activity there. Next slide. And this is also, I like this presentation too, because it gives students a real cross section of the different tools that are available in Nearpod, many of which they're using for the very first time. So they're very engaged, and it's not just to sit and listen. And then at the very end, I have a quizzes for them to do that has every single thing in the entire presentation all put into one super exciting presentation or test for them to take, and it's competitive with their peers. And if you've never used a quizzes before, I highly recommend that you use one because very high level of student engagement. And I have found through this presentation that students are really engaged in the topic, and there's enough shifts in there so they're not just watching YouTube videos, not just listening to me or just doing games, but it's check for understanding activities, but it's a good, well-paced and well-balanced mix of those things. So any questions? No one stopped me for questions in my presentation. Questions along the way. Are there any?
Hey, Joseph, I think you did a really thorough job. I didn't see any questions come in the chat. I do want to thank Joseph for his presentation. I think you did a really kind of thorough job of covering overall the lessons that you want your K-6 students to have, and then you did a great job kind of showing how you teach them those lessons. And personally, I think those are lessons that a lot of adults could use too. I know that I'm not the best about not reusing username and passwords, and I think we're all seeing the effects of not speaking kindly online right now. So I think there's some good lessons that are pretty universal in that presentation.